Okay, let's talk about low back pain. One of the ways that we can decide which exercises are going to help us the very most at reducing the pain is to do kind of what I call a pre-test, post-test. So it helps us to know, like, what are we going to respond best to in reducing our pain. So what we start with, the pre-test, is doing a slide down your legs. So hands on your thighs, we're going to slide down. Try to keep your knees as straight as you can. You're going to slide down, trying to keep your back relatively straight, but you want to slide down and just see how far you can go without it really increasing your pain a ton, or it may be a little bit painful. You may feel like a bite or pinch as you go down, or especially as you go to come back up. So you want to see, okay, how does that feel? How far can I move? There's your pre-test. If that's sore, if it's one side or the other, get a good picture of what that feels like as the pre-test. Now we're going to do a couple of things to see what makes it feel better, what makes it worse. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit back down, and I want you to try reaching down for the ground and touching the ground 10 times. As best you can, go just as far as you feel comfortable going, and we're going to go 10 times down to the ground. To 10. Now, when we stand back up, we're going to try and do that post test. Did that make a difference? So I'm going to slide back down, and let's say I could go quite a bit further now. Awesome. If you can go a bit further and there's less pain in your back, great. Then that means you should do more flexion-based exercises. So move on to the flexion-based exercise section. If not, if you felt like, oh my gosh, I can only go this far and it really pinches bad now, that made everything a little bit worse, then okay, we need to go back to the drawing board and try some extension-based stuff. If there was no real change, let's move to the extension stuff and see if you get more relief. So there's two ways to do the pre-test, post-test with the extensions based exercises. The first and easiest is just to put hands on your hips, and we're going to arch back like this. You may even try to one side if you have one-sided pain, to where you kind of angle back to one side. But you do that for 10 times. So either to one side or straight back if it's kind of more across your whole back. So we're going to go 10 times back, like so. Or the other alternate, if that seems like that's too uncomfortable or too painful, we're going to lay back down, and you can try, you can do this on the floor or on a bed or a bench like this, a prone press up. So you're going to press up like this, trying to keep your hips down on the table as much as you can, and trying to press up as high as you can. So I've got a fair amount of flexibility because I've demonstrated this so many times. So you may not be able to quite get that high up, and that's okay. Eventually you want to get to where you can, have your elbows all the way straight and everything. But do that 10 times, and then we're going to test it again. So you stand back up, and then you see, okay, how does it feel? Am I even, more limited, more painful? Or can I move quite a bit further and that feels really good? Like it hurts less, or there's, little to no pain? Then that would suggest that you should be more of a flexion-based responder. So move on to the flexion-based exercises. If neither of those really help, then there's some other things that we can try. We can try some one-sided exercises like a side glide. So you may try the side glide video, the stick push-pull, so the muscle energy technique video, or move on to doing a one-sided press-up. So look at those alternative, if neither of those, the extension or flexion-based, really move the needle for you, maybe look into some of those other avenues, and then hopefully you'll get some relief from one of those.